and I'm going to delve into November astrology with you live. So I haven't seen the charts, and if you've seen the caption, it's a little bit of advertisement for a fellow whistleblower, and he's big whistleblower. He's been in the system, in the banking system, um, and came out alive. So he did a lot of things that you're not supposed to do because he was top banker, which means top criminal. And then he went through sort of near-death experience because he didn't want to rape children, um, and decided to get free from the cult. He was tortured, and he's a great entrepreneur. One of the things Ronald Bernard is working on is having an alternative to the banking system, which I think is incredibly relevant for November astrology, as Pluto is going to change signs in just 2 days. Pluto is going to change sign. I know this happens already in October. No, sorry, it's not right now. No, October. It's happening in November. Yeah, I got the things mixed. I thought Pluto is changing sign in 3 days. We have a month until then. I guess I was so looking forward for that already. But we still have a month, and November 19th, Pluto is changing signs. It's going from Capricorn to Aquarius, and I think it's correct time to talk about the structure of banking. I believe there's going to be giant collapse of bankings because they want to have digital coins. And by the channel Ronald Bernard on YouTube, we already have a project that he's been creating. That's an attempt to make satanic ritual abuse free currency, because we currently do not have any. This is basically sort of a currency system that is a cooperative. I know that Rabobank is also cooperative, and yet this is more compatible, okay, for more decentralized, more compatible for Aquarius structures to unionize and have currency. So that's something I'm definitely been checking out. And whenever that will be possible to charge you for, let's say, astrological reading for this cooperative, and you understand, even if they do, you cannot give astrological service, you cannot this, no, we just go with currency outside the system, and we don't go work according to the old world settings, okay? So those standards when it comes to profession, vocation, yes, do not apply, because we want to eliminate satanic ritual abuse. So if there would be such case where I can already charge for this new currency, then I think he calls it Beats of Joy. Then I will let you know, and we'll do the charging. I think it is going to be digital, and I'll let you know more about the platform as I learn about it myself. And I've been mentioning it a lot, but I said I need to get down to the nitty-gritty to see what's in there. And if you know of other such systems, because the point is not to become a monopoly, but if you know of other such systems, other such currencies that are developing outside of satanic ritual abuse, okay, outside the structure of expendable children, that would be excellent. There are a lot of people from within the system, leaders, intelligence people, entertainment people, astrologers, from all walks of life, that only seek a way to have security. They're going to need housing, they're going to need food, they're going to need to be safe, okay? A lot of them not to protect themselves or psychically and so on, but they're going to need a place to go out to, so to not have to participate in satanic ritual abuse, world wars, and whatnot. So this would be correct place to put your links down below, okay, or to do video response for this video and let me know. So now, November astrology, this descendant right now is next to Rahu. So you see how compatible it was for me to introduce something that it has to do with real estate, something that has to do with currency, that has to do with investment, that is where we are going rather than what we are purging. Okay, we have rebelled, but now it's time to talk about solutions. And now Mars is on 22 degrees still. Okay, and I talked a lot about this degree, a nice reception with the moon, albeit the square. Um, and as we continue, okay, we're just releasing from the full moon, which for me was finally checking for beats of joy and a new type of investment system that could unlock energy blockage for me to run a business and work properly, okay, without becoming sick or ill because of all the infiltration of MK Ultra intelligence to all our workplaces and our housing. And that is, yes, if that's called by Bernard or if that's called by other entrepreneurs. I said before, I'm open to hear about, okay, new currencies and stuff that is based on will and consent, okay, for biodiversity, okay, so not racist or something like that. Housing first, supportive housing, nervous system supportive housing. I know Bernard is still talking about rent, but nervous system supporting housing is not something that I think is, contradicting. And housing first is a cure for psychosis, and that is something we are definitely going to need. Then feel free. Okay, feel free. I have my email, made it to love magic1 @gmail.com. I have the comment sections here. I have Shirley Youngwood on Instagram. I'm not too much on Twitter, but Talisha on Twitter. Yes, Facebook, I wouldn't recommend right now with all the metaverse, although you could say Instagram is the same. But I also have Facebook. And those are ways where you can absolutely contact me. If I will know of more ways that are less dependent on Peter Rings, then I would definitely inform you. Now, let's dive right into November astrology. So the first thing before I even open the page, I know Pluto is changing. My God, I had this. Pluto is about 2 days, just 2 days. Pluto is going. No, we're not in November yet. 90. I said for many, many months. I'm half Dutch, and we have infiltration of the lodges. And in Israel, for too many MK Ultra infiltration. I said, remember, 19th of November. Dutchies get out of the lodges. Those who can. And I'm really, really, proud to be supportive and as much as I can vouching for fellow whistleblowers and the people who might not even be able to speak out publicly, but even speak telepathically. And I'm very, very grateful for this, for us all right to exit violence, right to respect for the feminine, the masculine, that which was deprived of people, for the birthing experience, for the intimacy, for the joy of living. That is with will and consent, with good relations and currency that's independent of satanic ritual abuse. And that's something I'm very proud to be part of the conversation of the solutions and the how to, yes, for not only the raising awareness and the, waking up, which is important, but yes, it's time to talk solutions. So we are going to open the November calendar, and indeed, we're going to have new moon in Scorpio November 1st. So that would be happy birthday to fellow astrologer Chris Brennan. I have to remember that. And this is on 9 degree Scorpio, trining Saturn. So this is a very, very interesting new moon in a sign that is off, okay, the fiscal, the financial, and this is a new moon when Mars is perfecting its very first, I think, yes, is perfecting its very first opposition to Pluto. So this is where, if you want to be starting something, as the Michael Jackson song goes, that would be correct time. I'm not saying as launching date. Yes, I have to admit, you don't want a launching date with Mars opposing Pluto. Some of us will have to. So what I would suggest in such cases to have another declaration of independence, another significant launching that moves us forward from this. The timestamp of this chart will still remain. So we have the launching of any real estate projects, stuff like housing first, modeling, real estate modeling. It's independent of MK Ultra, where you can have fully priced and fully fully free housing. If you work on such initiation, I'm open to suggestions. Okay, as long as it's free of all the things that go for the hermaphrodite codes, of course, respective of all people and all genders. And this is a good time for the beginning of a release of something, because just like a full moon is the culmination of something, now it's time to release, to decrease all the things that have been waiting us on energetically. Time to release them, okay, to let go. Then same thing as Mars is perfecting its opposition with Pluto, okay, we are beginning to culminate now. The first time we see fully what the conflict is, who we are at conflict with. But this allows us to know who we are not at conflict with, okay? And even if we are at conflict with, yes, then we may understand what is the essence. Why am I in conflict with you? Why are you in conflict with me? Okay? If you have people saying, "Well, but this is your waging. We are at war, or we waging a war." Like, why? Okay, where is the conflict of interest? The conflict of interest lies, so we can begin to address it. Where's my interest opposite to your interest? And how can we meet and accommodate for both our interests in ways that is alleviating of our tensions? This is how we do in life, whether it's our families, whether it's a workplace, whether it's things we haven't considered, whether it's politics. It's just the first time we get to know what is the source of conflict between Mars and Pluto for this 2.5-year cycle that is in mid-cycle. We're going to be touching on that conflict point again when Mars is going to be retrograde, and then again it's going to be direct, and then we're going to have the spring of maybe nation, maybe people, maybe housing, okay? And so, and we must appreciate that the Plutonians have been building that for centuries. But yet, it cannot be on the account of the people. If it's enslaving of the people, no, we have to reaccommodate. But it also liberates for these hidden societies, because if you did yin over yang or yang over yin, okay, now you're going to do yin and yang, you are liberated from the core of your consciousness. So maybe some structures fall apart and you can be lost, but you're not falling apart to fall dead. You're falling apart to fall into life. It's a sort of an incarnation even. And that's the opportunity, okay, that's the promise. So this new moon in Scorpio is very, very tense. However, we have a mystic rectangle in the sky. And mystic rectangle, I can tell you that this is such... I have it in my natal chart. I have it at least in 2 synastries that I know. Synastries or composites that I know. One of them, if you already know. Other, because person is alive, then I think it's not... yes, it's too much to talk about. And so I can tell that my experience with the mystic rectangle is, no matter the struggle, there is always alchemy. Whatever comes up, there's always alchemy. No matter what, okay? If I can think about, I have this composite with Peter R. de Vries, this deceased, so yes, of course I can talk about this. No matter what I discovered, there's always alchemy. So it's because of that, so it's because of that, so it's because of that, because it's not the end of the story. It's not, you throw everything away. It's not the end of the story. And this is a very, very powerful mix. I wouldn't launch anything on it, but this is a very powerful new beginning where whatever happens, there is always way for alchemy. There's place for alchemy here. And this Mars is sextiling Uranus, which I talked about. This is such a great thing for Mars. Mars sextile, I have this if I have this aspect, Mars sextile Uranus is the rebel. It takes you on a course of action that is liberating. Whatever happens for both people, especially if it's in a composite, but also in synastry, for both people, whatever happens, you go on a course of action that's liberating for you. An entire environment is affected because this is Uranus, it's an outer planet. It means that whatever action we take is for to liberate. I'll give you an example, okay? I exposed for the fact that my macro real estate agent was spying, because he was spying on me energetically, and I had to expose him. But I said, I'm the first person who talks about the conditions and the mistreat of people who are working in intelligence. Okay, they never know if they spy or not. Okay, so that would be actually a crisis, but maybe one of the best things that happened to this person, because now it's out there. Now perhaps a venue of liberation, venue of assistance, venue of receptivity that wasn't there before, that was causing them to be distressful on the planet, but very likely on everyone, the surroundings and themselves, is liberated. It's out. The secret is out, and it's not out to get you, it's out to liberate, to change for these conditions. Okay? It was an act of self-liberation for me. It was not trying to save anyone, but this is the Mars-Uranus. The action taken here, this confrontation with Pluto, is for to liberate. And they liberate us from stories where people have been sacrificed, where people have been secretly stalked or raped and psychically attacked. All this, poof, out of this, okay? You're not imagining, okay? Housing first, believe in your testimony, independent of your ability to work, curates schizophrenia. You're not imagining, scientifically. And the people that diagnose with schizophrenia, they say, when I'm in good environment, the voices, the sounds, okay, for people that hear voices and sounds, this is channeling, but the voices, the sounds, they become supportive. When I'm in supportive environment. So this is where Mars is going to take action on this new moon. And it's the 1st of November. We open November with taking massive action that is in conflict. Okay? We are not afraid to stand opposing somebody that tries to control, and we stay and we liberate ourselves and we direct on confrontation. Okay? Around this. And Mars is also trining Mercury in Scorpio. So the in-depth, the thought, we're going to be thoughtful. This is not going to be not thoughtful action. I know Mars is fallen, but, and it's not a nice receptivity of Mars and Moon, that's also falling, okay? So we're not going to feel the best, but that is only going to push us the contraction to take, I don't want to say responsibility is a big word, but to take action. For to liberate us. And the Mercury in Scorpio, in this decan of Scorpio, Mercury is the decan of where we look into the past. It's not nostalgia, okay? It's the decan of where you solve cold cases. It's the decan of where you look at all the battles you've been through, okay? This is the experienced warrior, okay? And the Mercury here has the depth of thought. It's a Jupiterian phase of Scorpio, if I'm not mistaken. And you want to look at the faces, the 33 faces for Austin Coppock. I don't know when he's having the book. Ever since I learned about this astrologer, I know he's having a new edition of this book. And it's been, I think, since 2019, 2000, I think 1920. It's 5 years already. But there are already talismans from the decans. But this is the phase of Scorpio that's more optimistic about solution. Okay, it's more solution. It's the fight that you take for to create change, for to solve, if it's cold case, for to solve your problems, because you went through the transformation and now you're transformed. You want to take action. But it's also the final severing of ties, because Mars is severing of ties with the unjust. This is where we sever ties with contracts, Mercury, that are no longer working for us on but both hidden contracts and regular contracts. Okay, last action anybody want to be taken is violation of somebody's sexual boundaries at this point, because they will be deprived. Okay, they will be left out at the gates of the promised land, because we are heading to the promised land with this winter of nations. We are heading for yes, the promised land. And so this is a giant new moon. Again, for the last action, I would recommend anyone was to, in any way, especially if people try to do in hidden way, in any way, but if it's hidden way, but the return to center here is majestic, because it's going to expose the people so much so that they really have nowhere to go. Okay, this is the one where people take the final severing of ties. No more of this satanic ritual abuse economic system and its housing and its hidden intelligence and all these things. Al gol kaput. Verdammtis. Okay? People have no power for dumb shit anymore. And these people. And this is a new beginning. So yes, the moon is fallen. We're going to feel like, oh, we have to fight for rights. And Mars is detriment, okay? But Mars is extiling Uranus. We're going to be taking a liberating action anyway. And the more people will try, the more attempts to abuse of the fact that people try to liberate themselves from sexual violence, with housing, with the caregiving, with the hidden secret societies, the more they try to abuse this, the harder the downfall. Okay? So, and then we have Pluto trining Uranus. So Urano-Algol is perfecting here. This is where Uranus is liberating our view on beta per se. If you've been sacrificing children or been using currency of people to sacrifice children, I have had stop in all my business currencies. All my business. I said stop. If I don't have currency to charge people that can actually hold waters, that is free from satanic abuse, then what am I selling? What products am I selling? Okay? And so Uranus liberates us from the old ways we've been doing beta per se. And also the old ways we've been seeing beta per se, seeing her as traitor. No, if person is taken, raped, electrocuted, shocked, whatnot, then for them to die, to betray the nation, they can die, because they get death penalty for that. But if they don't even have that with dignity, what do you want? Okay, of course it creates a terror, it creates this. It's all constructed to create this. And we had today the death of Yehia Sinwar. I think they are right now at the last stages of approval. And I think that this man wanted to die for a very long time. He had a Neptune that, I think even Nicolas Stojanovic, when he was alive, he was talking about Neptune as being able to make a person invisible and make it very hard to assassinate the person. But he wanted very likely to die for a very long time. Wouldn't say it out loud. And this Mars, why do I say this? Because Mars is still last minutes of 22 degree of murder. And the Hisinoir, okay, supposedly terrorist to defend the nation, okay, national terrorist, okay, nationalistic, Palestinian. It's none of that, but but this is what we are shown. And the Mars was applying to trine Neptune. And so this is where he could finally cross over. So people think, oh, we finally killed Sinwar. Yeah, he's probably sitting in the heavens thinking like, finally out of MK Ultra. Okay. And then we have another thing in the background. So I always look always also to what's happening in the background. First of all, Mars is having this bisextile with Neptune again, and Uranus. Very protective. This is the rebel of those who were the spies, the infiltrators, or those who they tried to recruit to be these people. Okay, could be the spouses of, could be the healers, the shamans, could be, just kind of like Piscean people that they always try to recruit, or that we always like a slippery fish fall out of every frame. So this is the rebellion of these people. The rebellion of that which is, I wouldn't say the outcast, but definitely that which is the marginalized, okay? The peoples that you saw as, oh, this is traitor, this is traitor, this is traitor, this is traitor, are going to all step up and be conflictual with those systems. There's so many CIA agents that let go, that say, I don't want to be in this system anymore. People want the fuck out of this. But because they want life, if your endeavors are based on enslaving other people, of course, it's not sustainable, and you lose the mandate over the legitimacy of monopoly over power. Okay, we have this basis, but it's very likely that something, if you're on the Plutonian side, okay, if you're like at the WEF, at the WHO, and stuff like that, it's very likely your life internally is falling apart to fall into place. Think about Ronald Bernard. Ronald Bernard, he wanted people to suffer. Why? Because he was raped at church and as a child, and of course that fucks up the entire life of a person, and father was abusive towards him, okay, and you want to listen to his story from his word, but then he wanted people to suffer, okay. He didn't have that dignity. He wanted people to suffer. He wanted people to go through a lot and just suffer, okay. And then when it comes to abusing children, it was the utmost crime. When it came to that rank in the banking system, he could not do it because he himself was raped as a child, and then he tried to kill himself, and he had near-death experience, which has to do with birthing. And he went to intense karma, intense torture, but to get out of the situation. And he promised he'll never say names of where he was, and now so that he can do whistleblower and continue to be what he came here to be, an entrepreneur, and to do what his child self came to do here, and to change these things with the joy of living. And he said himself, when I heard his last video say, he said, my spouse said, current spouse said, we would never be compatible with your previous life. So for many of you, things are falling apart to fall into place. Think about your intimate relations. Think about your satisfaction of life. Think about things you may have already given up. So a lot of you are just waiting for things to collapse completely, so the old order is no longer working, and then it's falling into place. Hopefully you don't have to go through near-death experience or torture or any of that sort. But know that anything, whether you signed with your blood or anything, nothing is holding at the spiritual court, and nothing is holding. Okay, you're not exempt from receiving assistance, guidance to break through for these structures that created perpetual violence. No one can hold you by contract. No one. Okay, it has no validity. Spiritually, has no validity. Okay? Have to protect yourself and so on and so forth. But spiritually, forces are with you for you when you want to break through. And if you're Christian, then Archangel Michael, Christ consciousness, can be a place to allow to, and it does not negate, because if people are born hermaphrodites, then of course we accept for the two genders, and it's the honoring of the two genders, okay, for the masculine and the feminine, that brings in for the falling apart, that falls into place and into life. And I don't underestimate the falling apart. This new moon is going to be the beginning of the falling and collapsing, but falling into place. And for some people, that may have been for the first time in their life, something is falling into place. Okay, if you think about Ronald Bernard falling out of the cult and then finding partner that supports of his endeavors and having endeavors to truly make change in the world, the avoid of this satanic ritual abuse, of all the things that impacted family and family karma and family lineage. Okay, is something that wasn't there before. So spiritually, you can think about this as the great redemption, but it's also just to live. Okay, we came here to live, not for perpetual suffering and causing perpetual suffering in others. So Mercury is sextile in Pluto, which is another thing that I love about this. Although the ruler is opposite, Mercury is sextile in Pluto. Mercury sextile Pluto gives us all the benefit of in-depth thought process, strategy. We're going to have way more thought strategy. The actions might be a bit more impulsive, but with Uranus they're supported, and with Neptune they're very supported. Okay, so you could get away with not really knowing how to fight more so than others, and then you learn. Okay, you learn as you go. We're gonna have all the benefits of Mercury sextile Pluto, Mercury Pluto. The hard aspect with Mercury Pluto, they're very difficult because there's something unconscious motive of why you communicate, and it's unconscious to you, and it's through crisis that you change your communication style, or that you suddenly you can be overflown. Okay, I have Mercury opposing Pluto natally, and it took me so long. I wanted for so long to look into a bit of joy and look deeper into that, and it took me, I think, months. And then there was a crisis in my life, and suddenly the energy was available for me to look at this. Okay, it's not because I'm neglecting or because I didn't want to look at it. No, because there was an inner crisis that made it challenging for me to even process. But with the sextile, with the trine, you can process. You have this depth of thought, penetrating insight, and you're able to communicate it or to not communicate it, and have this hidden insight into things in a way that is more harmonious and supportive of you and less crisis oriented. So solutions to the conflict, solutions, okay, and those insights are supportive of the conflict, okay? It's supportive of you say, no, I stand 10 toes down here because this matters. Here, for example, a housing first is matters because otherwise you cannot escape MK Ultra. Must. It's not something you can compromise, because if this person has to go to work and they're not ready to go to work and they don't have good balance of work and rest, sexual energy not operating correctly, they're susceptible to mind programming. And this is something I stand 10 toes down. Okay? But this is important for me. Whether it's through substantial modeling of pricing of houses, okay, so you get the fully priced, then you get the no price. And our telos of our soul is we want to do something with our lives. And those that are okay with just relaxing, you know what? They contribute to the economy. It's less competition. Well, it's not about even less competition, because competition can be creative, but it is about you want the people that are passionate for the thing. And if the people are not passionate for the thing, then and they do it because they have to work, then they get sick, the projects get sick, everybody gets sick. Okay? But if they have house, place to stay, take a vacation, they hold frequency for us. They're like they're holding the water that allows us to move, to forge ahead with our dreams, with our passions, with our creative endeavors, and for the arguments, and with what we want to change, and what we want to create, and so on. So this is where things fully exposed, and you see, I'm 10 toes down on this. I'm not giving up, because this penetrative insight that Mercury has is going to make it even more important to hold this conflict. And then we're going to move with Mars ingressing into Leo. Okay, we're going to recruit some people. We're going to go back. Okay? and there is something that with Mars Mars Uranus, there's something very open about this. I'm not secretly doing this. I'm not secretly saying this. I'm saying this out loud and out in the open. And those penetrative insights, some of them telepathy, some of them this, some of them that, those are genuine insight that says, no, I'm standing 10 toes down. Because if a person is now a leader in MK Ultra and they want to get the fuck out of this, they need safety housing. They need safety housing independent of ability to work for a while. And you know what, they're very likely going to do something with their lives. People don't tend to sit still. They're gonna, I don't know, like me doing the yard, okay, I learned about the forestry, reforestation and the half moon, so I began to try to practice that. Okay, people do something active with their lives, but it is the case that I don't want them to be subjected to infiltration and to mind control, because otherwise we have infiltration of our innovation. And then what did we do? We stayed sick. They're gonna want us to do this, what Ronald Bernard didn't want to do. Okay? And there's some people born into this cult. So this is where we start in something new, and as it's an opposition, there's a conflict, there's something very open about this conflict, is exposing, is talking, is addressing, is but for the people who are the Pluto in this situation, everything falls apart to fall into place. And what you've been building since 2008, if you clear out all the rubbish, but what you left to what you actually want to do, you see that it falls into place almost miraculously. Neptune, because Pluto is sextile in Neptune, is to be sextile here. Okay, that your actions, Mars, even if you are the Pluto, is leading to this falling apart to fall into place. For some of you, say, hey, what about your love life? What about the realization of your dreams? If I have to be honest with myself for what the realization of my dreams, it's not to sit there and do nothing, right? But if I want to do something and be somebody, then I don't want MK Ultra, because it's devoiding of me being that somebody that I want. If you're this Plutonian person, you know we are one, you know you're the same, you know it's the same for you, with who you came here to be. So we are resuming from where we left. And where we left, as I said, if you are the Plutonian person in this equation, you know everything is falling apart to fall into place, and you know with yourself, if you sit and you think to yourself where your actions are leading you, they are leading you all the way to this conflict. And you know very well that with the satanic system, you wouldn't get to be who you are, because it's depriving you of your sexual energy, your life energy. You know that. You don't get to be passionate. You don't get to have a spark of life. You don't get to have all these things with the old order, or that supposedly you have been building, but you've been building it all the way to this confrontation that's falling apart to fall into place. And you see how your work has been awakening people that didn't this is politics, this is secret society, people that didn't used to tend to that, now tending to that, and now awakening. If your job is like Luciferian, to awaken people, now people are awakening. So for you it falls apart to fall into place. And then now you can allow for this crisis to happen in your life and culminate since 2008 for this area of your life. And regain, for some of you, is to regain your child self, your inner child. For some of you, it is to regain for your image. Because if you've been the expendable child, and now they are about to expose you for pedophilia scandal, Brussels. I said what I said, okay? And they're planning to take you down, either in World War or in exposing for what you did, or exposing for the movies they have, and to make it like a sudden thing. Then now, everything falling into place, so this direct confrontation is exposing the fact that this is how the structure of system works, and the only way out is if we collapse this system from within. We have enough whistleblowers, and we have appraisal that it is appreciating for the feminine, for the masculine, and birthing, conception, and growing is for it to be with love. It has to be with will and consent, and the modalities to curate, even if a person is pedophile, modalities to curate exist for everything, whether it's cancer, whether it's schizophrenia. It's just housing first and believe in the patient in a supportive environment. Now, even if they hear voices, they're supportive. Everything that we can think of, all the atrocities, all the this, all the that, modalities for curation exist. Everything, all the ways is open. We just have to provide the right to exit, and it's those rebels that provide for you the right to exit, because they have on you more life-affirming information than the people who try to use you to create enslavement and then expose you, like the S killing the SA, and and that's it. Okay, and replace. Why they kill the Sinwar now? You think about what age Sinwar, Yahya Sinwar, I think, what was he, around his 50s, 60s? Okay, this is age where they say, okay, the person knows too much, and let's off with his head. But if these people manage to rebel, then things fall apart to fall into place, and this is a crisis that is created here. So this Plutonian people is direct confrontation. There is direct confrontation with something that would anyway be exposed, but instead for this to be exposure that is managed by the very ones who perpetuate, it is exposure outside the system, and it's ushering us for Pluto ingressing into Aquarius. I will delve very likely deeper into this new moon in future videos. This is a very, 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 very important new moon. Okay, it is new moon where it's the beginning of the falling apart to fall into place. And don't worry, you're not meant to not make it through. You want to watch my video why some of you will make it through 2025, why actually most of you will make it through 2025, and it's because things are falling apart to fall into place. All the things that you think that we couldn't curate, okay, schizophrenia, pedophilia, whatnot, obsessive compulsion, addiction, okay, all these things can be curated and instantly sometimes. Modalities exist for all of them, okay? I went through attempts to kidnap me when I was a child by a doctor who was a sadist, and I did not bifurcate to be pedophile. Okay, and the roads that have been taken for to open my heart, for to set for intention, for to connect, to find a way to connect with my sensuality, sexuality, and value of will and consent saved me and my life. Not some people born into these cults, okay, but the person that wasn't born into this cult, it saved me, it saved my life, it transformed a lot of people around me. Okay, they couldn't get around doing the gaslighting, they couldn't get around doing these things, and not have repercussion, serious repercussion. Okay, I was karma for a lot of people, but it's not karma for to kill them, it's for things to fall apart, for them to fall into place. And so this is what helped me to take advantage of the privilege and access that I have to not bifurcate to perpetrator, and take advantage. And because of this, I know that other circumstances I could be for these people that perpetuated this violence. Okay, and so I took for the privilege that I had to not be born into this cult, and to not be born to a situation you just sign with blood before you're even born. And it does not apply spiritually, it does not apply. But when a person goes through such abuse as child, they don't think of any connection to divinity, because that's what they've been experiencing, and it's indeed a paradox of spirituality that nobody can excuse. We know that we as humans create gods. Of whatever we create these gods to be, we can change for the way we worship the gods, and they also respond to that. That is one way I can deal with this. Okay, that the divine is co-creation and we create for, and this is Louise Hay had a point when she said our view of God has to be supportive of us. Otherwise it's harming, it's causing us ailment. And she died in her sleep. For those who are in the Memento Mori. So and this is something that's very, very powerful. It's this direct confrontation that is intense and powerful, and is coming from the people with the moon here in Scorpio. It's the people that usually have to fight to get the need met. Okay? But here Mars is supported by Neptune, supported by Uranus, that Mars is going to put up a fight. An heretic degree, it's also far-seeing. If far-seeing that this Plutonian opponent is like, darling, in 20 seconds, in cosmic time, less than 20 seconds, Pluto goes into the sign of the guillotine. They're going to expose for all the things that all of you guys have to do. And they never say off with their heads. For we the people, it's not going to be useful, because you know enough of the system that if you go to this crisis and you come out alive and you have chance to curate and to heal, then we offset the perpetuation level and that weird incarnation, abyss. This is the power for this Mars. It's informed, and therefore it's direct confrontation, but it's direct confrontation of persons, kind of like almost a part of you is confronting you for saying to your shadow, hey, this is from the core changing now. And you see this new moon is supportive of retrograde Saturn in 12 degrees Pisces. Jupiter in Gemini, opposing Venus in Jupiter's sign. So we have conflictual, when it comes to our worldview, how do we apply this freedom? There is conflict, okay? Our love language right now requires freedom, and freedom is an applied science. But Venus, but the opposition between the benefic is a grander benefic. Okay, we have grand expectation, and we also take grand actions to implement those, because Mercury's ruling Jupiter retrograde is in the sign of Mars taking action, which is the direct confrontation with Pluto. You have nowhere, your shadow self has nowhere to run. Your shadow self has nowhere to run. Okay, if I think about how this Pluto been operating in my life, and I have the ruler of my ascendant in the middle phase of Capricorn, my own fears of success, of achieving my dreams and goals, I'm not saying excuses. It's very funny to say when you're at the other threshold, you say excuses, but when you're within the threshold, it's not excuses. It's a genuine experience of you're in the cave and you're going out of the cave and the light is flickering. Okay, so from outside of the cave, it's like it's excuses. But we have for the leverage say, no, I have no excuse to not come here and live my dreams, whether it's the love that I want, whether it's the creativity that I want, with all these things, to put one foot in front of the other foot and set myself, it's not even set myself free, because it's to create every day. What I came here to do, okay? There's no, because even when I think I want death, then I begin to sing about this. When I'm frustrated, I begin to create about it. And it's alchemical creation, it's liberating to get the fuck out of this dumb fuckery. Very easy to see it when you're, after that dark night of the soul, in that phase where it's after that dark night of the soul, it's very easy to see that and to address that, because you become more and more courageous. You cannot anymore do with the old things. So this is just the beginning of November. Now, let's take a look. Let's take a look at what's next. So we have the ingress of Mercury to Sagittarius. Then we have Mercury and Jupiter in detriment, which is going to be highly satirical but also profound. We're going to be looking at the little details of our beliefs and how these matter. If we don't know, for example, that we can create gods, if you do chaos magic, the sum of it is also creating God, or if we decide what the relation of God with God is, Louis Hay teaching become very, very important in this situation. And also that we need to have access to hope. Okay, so for everyone, it's going to manifest differently. Then people are staying stuck at this point where, well, there is no such thing as Jesus, because what God would create for you to be tortured, and of course, no God. It's the way that people worship the God that created this. But you are not exempt from the access to create your own God or your own relation with God. Or not, okay, if you don't feel like you need it. But it's not inaccessible to you to enjoy this magic. Mars ingresses Leo. So Mars ingress Leo is important. This is where Mars begins to release from the square, from the opposition, and it's one giant leap. Okay, it's one giant leap, for some people leap of faith, that Mars is taking here, and he's still trying in Mercury as it does, and this is a benevolent Mercury. Okay, it's a Mercury that communicates ideas of freedom and genuinely wants freedom. Okay, because Jupiter is in Mercury sign. We genuinely want freedom. We genuinely communicate ideas of freedom. Even when people will lie, the underlying mechanism would be the desire to be free. So Mars will be ruled by the Sun, and there is this nice reception with the Sun and the Mars, very deeply Scorpionic Sun. Upon the ingress, the action here is more visible. Mars in Leo can make a show of something, okay? And is Mars in Leo wants to make a show of something. Now, what the pitfall is, Mars can want to humiliate some leader, okay, to create like humiliation or something like that. Then you have to be a bit cautious, because Mars has a lot of ego. Or the leader can try to humiliate Mars here, because Mars has a lot of ego. We can have a leader that is satirical in a way, but the leader must think that this Mars is also the way he's taking action right now. So there's a mirror image of the depth psychology of things, the psychology of projections and all these things. We're going to be confronted with some stuff, okay? Yes, this is, but the action is going to be very visible. If the action of the people, if you don't hear about it in the media, but the action of the moon. It can be an emotional action to set yourself free. So for others, you might be just doom scrolling on YouTube, but hey, you're not trying to slit your wrists right now. Just take an action to liberate yourself from certain emotional turmoil. But with the action with Leo is very visible. Somebody's going to be taking a very visible action. It can be military action, but to confront something plutonic here that needs to be confronted. Anybody that had to do a lot of quackery to go up the scale, that is exposed. The best is, if you're like me, then the best is to talk. Okay, to talk and to say, because if I take a look at myself of how I got to learn a degree, it had to be inclusive of agreeing to be called names and prescribed things that could kill me. and commit things that basically would be, if not for the pills, felony. Okay, financial felony. Because there's basically you have a check and it doesn't have cover. So it's I'm getting notified that Sinwar is 100% dead according to AI. So we're gonna look at this chart. I think I did look at this chart. I already addressed it in the previous part of this video, the previous live. Yes, I said what I said. But this Mars is very visible, and I suggest to you, because if you think with the Pluto underneath the secret, there's something very innocent here. Okay, I did not want to take a loan for studies where I didn't know how will I return, and then I ran into a situation that for eating food, I have to give the supermarket check that I don't know if we'll have cover. And then for the only way, if I said I'm in crisis, I want to hurt myself already, give me debt or give me studies, nobody give a flying fuck. But if there are checks that had no cover, oh, come on, welcome. Welcome, come to hospital. Come, we have funds for you. Come study. You're a talented person. You're a very intelligent person. And people picking you up from the psychological service of the university. You're so intelligent. You're so this. I wanted to meet you personally. It's like, what's so intelligent? Very average grades, okay? I'm not a stupid person, okay? But it's not like there was some way that they could see that. Because I'm not a stupid person, okay? So there was nothing showing me to have whatnot. Okay, so to try to recruit you. Nobody gives a flying fuck what I'm supposed to do, right? Of the things that are wrong, okay, it's better that is with debt than is with human lives. And this was because when I was working for a credit card company, I said, I'm not going to tell people, yes, I'm setting your monthly return to $400 where, or 400 euros where you spend 5,000 euros each month, and the interest level, including prime, would be 12%, sometimes even 14%. And it's one line that after we talk for an hour and establish trust, I'm supposed to say, yes, I'm setting your monthly return to 400. Or it's even difficult for me linguistically to say that quickly, but I'm supposed to say that quickly. Shut the deal, seal the deal, then you go to the customer service. They also have to sell you these multi-cards. I said, no. Give me job of, I don't know, administration. Do I look fit for administration? I mean, come on. I have a Chiron in Mercury sign. Hyperactive. Okay, I'm not fit for. I could not be an officer. But I said I don't want to do that. Why? Because I didn't want people to get into unnecessary debt. I did not hold a credit card, and I worked for a credit card company because I needed a job. And people are going with the credit score. Fuck the credit score. It's based on slavery system. You're not supposed to not be able to buy a house in cash. Otherwise, if you're not working, you're in slavery. I said what I said. I said it when I was 16. I said it when I was 17. I said it when I was 20. I'm saying it when I'm 40, and I'm right. But the thing is that the way you got to how you got, for some of you, you said, okay, I get how the system works. I'm going to buy with the credit cards and put it on my children's name, and I'm going to put the property and I put it on my children. I pray with the credit cards so they have good credit score. Now, entire currency and credit score system kaput. Why? Because your child has said, I don't want, let's say you're living abroad, I don't like genocide in Congo. Something that I can speak about. Okay? Kaput. You traitor. No credit. All the work for all your lineage. Kaput. Okay? Why? Because we went along to begin with the credit score system. And for some of you, this was, okay, this funny trickery you didn't think too much about. I cannot fix the world, correct the world. You went on with your daily jobs. Well, for some of us, we were actually thinking about this. It's like if so, it's going to be exposed. This is what I'm saying. It's going to be exposed. Now, if you're willing, if you're willingly, consensually waiting to collapse this stinking system and say, I should never have gone through what I went through to be where I am to begin with, and I want that to change for the younger generation. Do not fear exposure. It's falling apart to fall into place. And for many of you, you haven't lost the passion in your blood, okay? Reptilian, not reptilian, that this, that, okay? You haven't lost the passion in your blood to do something that lights a spark in your eyes and is for a sense of joy. And for even for those people that have been so far sadistic, they try to acquire for the sense of joy, of to create change, of create impact, of to create something. And for it's falling apart to fall into place. If the heart is open, and then when the heart is open, and you can see yourself shining, you can see another person shining as well. Then for many people, they're not sadistic. Okay, that's another thing to remember. So Mars ingress into Leo is going to be big, giant, massive exposure. It's going to be visible. What people did in the secret is going to be visible. Okay? Like I said, okay, I have pubic hair. I pick my nose sometimes. Okay, I'm trying to withdraw to pick my nose. That's it. Okay? Sometimes I will sleep like that without shower because I was so tired I couldn't take shower. That's pretty much, or put the sheets on. Okay, but for some people it's way more embarrassing because they had to rape people, because they had to do weird shit, because they have footages of them, and then okay, I'm not even talking about AI because they're going to say it's AI, but you have to understand how the system works. And then if you are already waiting for it to be exposed, waiting for it to fall apart, to fall into place, then you're going to say, fuck it. Let it fall apart to fall into place. Okay? Because it's no way that we entrap people with debt for no reason. You're not supposed to have debt to buy a house. If you do, you're not working, you're a slave. Okay? And I'm not against the taxation. I got degree from supposedly taxation. People say, oh, but without that you could have this, you could have that. Well, it takes more than that. It would take entire 9 millennia cult of Peterings to go kaput. And it will go kaput because Uranus is on, I'll go kaput. And Sadness in Gemini, trine in Pluto. So it's about time for it to go kaput because it's about time for us to rejuvenate for how we attend to our goal, and then have true wealth, the wealth that you can enjoy, your life. And the joy is not because somebody else is crying or dying or suffering, and it's not you this time, but rather because it is access to the joy of living. It's not triggering anymore. Then we go forward in the month. November 11, we have the Venus ingress into Capricorn. Saturn turns direct November 15. So right before we're going to talk about the Pluto ingress that everybody been talking about for years now, because this is the French Revolution, okay, time. And we know that banks are going to be going kaput. But we also, it's not for nothing that that this has the footage of the caption was, at least for the previous life, I don't know for this life, of Ronald Bernard project. And if there are more similar projects, and projects to do with the modeling system of house pricing, like I said, housing first, that allow people to have right to access MK Ultra, right to access to exit MK Ultra. And they, because that has been infiltrating everything and it's not been doing anything right. Everybody suffers. Okay. So then we have 15 November, Saturn is going direct, 12 degrees Pisces. Saturn going direct is a big deal. Okay, Saturn going direct is a big deal. And this is where frequency of love here, please. This is a big deal. This Saturn is ruling this anaretic degree Pluto. Okay, Saturn going direct, Jupiter, the transit is still retrograde. So what you, if you watch my channel, and you are old viewer, okay, old fan, what does Shirley says whenever a planet is going direct but its ruler is still retrograde? Full gas in neutral. So we're not interested about this Saturn going direct in terms of what will it apply to the world, because we still have full gas in neutral. We cannot yet apply fully. Some of the things we can apply, okay? Some of the things we already know what's needed, okay? When I needed to treat my teeth, it was very obvious for the cosmic law that that would entail me exposing my macula. And everyone. So on the one hand, it's like, well, you need to treat your teeth. Why don't you go to the doctor? Why don't you treat your teeth? Why don't you treat it? And then I go to do that, and it's like, no. Here, have a candy. Because they know they are the built-up plaque. All these things they did secretly, okay, it's the build-up plaque. And it affects the heart. It affects them as well. They become sick from that. But the build-up plaque had to be cleaned, okay? And they know that that would be cleaning for how to speak. And the build-up plaque was that I'm living with the muggler who is a spy. Okay? And they've been using the fact that I didn't have money to buy a good bra. Really, it costs some, the actually supportive bra, it costs some money. He has to try to make of me like I am, I don't know what, because I don't walk around with the bra. I'm not joking. Okay? You gotta be reasonable. Of course, it's gonna build up plaque. You can divert the attention only so far. Then Saturn said, we do it. Even if we don't have money for food, we're going to clean them teeth. And we clean everything of it. Build up plaque. What you got to do? You ain't got money for food this month. What you got to do? Well, I still got money for a pedicure. Let's remove this dead skin from the steps that I take towards life. Holistic medicine. Well, you ain't got power to brush your teeth. Well, I got the succulea. I'm going to put in my mouth. Justice. And you know what is the holistic meaning of Yarrow? Is life is not Mein Kampf. Okay, life is not about struggle. And so everything that negates these things, everything that creates struggle in my life, I expose it, I purge it. Fuck that. So to live a good life. It's important for your teeth to look good, for you to look representative, no? Maybe I will take vacation in Romania, I don't know. But if I can't afford this, then I have to do it holistically. So let's put some for what I have and speak up. Gotta take care of myself, right? So this is where Saturn is going direct. You're going to be taking such action. And and this is going to be a part of what's governing the Eurekas of Jupiter retrograde. It's going to be a part of what's governing the Eurekas of Jupiter retrograde. So Mars is medicine, Mars is teeth, Mars is hair, Mars is skin, Jupiter is feet, toes, okay, aligning, structure of your toes, your ability, okay, the teeth structure, okay, the jaws, the funny tricks you can do with your tongue in your mouth and the breathing to release energy. Tending to the connection between your nails and your skin, okay, to release energy, the breathing in. What keeps you from breathing in? If it's somebody try to get into your energy, to try to get into your breathing cycle, so you breathe them out, and you expose the soul. You expose their soul because they try to unite with your soul, not for union and this and that, for controlling. Then you expose their soul. Okay, don't do this dumb fuckery. All the MK Ultra stuff go kaput. We're sick of it. And you see, this is in a T-square with Mercury in Jupiter's sign and with Jupiter itself. So Saturn and Jupiter are going to apply to square again. And this is one heck of a friction because Jupiter is the expansion and optimism and Saturn is the reality check. Okay? So you think about, for me saying, oh, I'm going to treat my teeth, I'm going to this, I'm going to that. And then that would change things in my life. And then I was like, well, I'm exposing the entire MK Ultra system, the fact that the drug cartels, real estate cartels and intelligence are same cartels and all MK Ultra. And that affects for both political assassination. It means that the leaders are being assassinated by these cartels. And it means that, once again, and the drug cartels, they're afraid of the judges because the judges are the mole axis of this intelligence, Hansen Elma testimonial, and he's not imagining because housing first and open dialogue and believing the patient is curating schizophrenia, while beta blockers create heart attacks and build up bile. Okay, if you cannot treat a fungi it's not absorbing because of the beta blockers. So you understand, fungi is something stagnant. So if you cannot remove stagnation, then this is creating stagnation. Then the person, they become murderers because they want to purge it out of the body, even in the breath, and they use that to create the terrorists. With other drug cocktails, of course, yes. So this is another thing where it's like I want to purge everything that's waiting on my teeth. So what happened the last time that I experienced Jupiter square Saturn? Well, I realized that if I need to do like a deeper treatment with the teeth, anesthesia would not work if I'm stressed, hungry, or something like that. So that means that I gotta move the mountains. It cannot be that I'm stressed and hungry and my landlord is sitting pretty. I didn't know his intelligence. What are you gonna say? Okay, I gotta move the money around towards eating something that at least paying the first step to buy the fish that I need with the niacin for the omega-3s for the nervous system. Okay, for the oils that balance for the nervous system and reconnect me with the sense of joy and purpose. It costs money. It costs money. And my word and my respect is no less juristically than his word, his respect. Definitely not. It's very likely he said it because of some MK Ultra stuff, mind control. But I'm not here to be the victim of that. Okay, this is what the karma, the teeth, does. It's like I have to be while inside. I mean, this expansive. I'm finally tending to my teeth. Things are opening up for me. I'm doing things I'm supposed to do. Oh, I have released energy that I can take care of myself a little bit better, okay? And then this thing comes up. I said the old ways in which I used to balance things, which was to deprive myself of food to get a degree, even when I'm given funding for the degree. It's no longer working. It's not going to work with the teeth. You can't be hungry. And I'm not imagining, because if I was, housing first and believing me is basically the curation for schizophrenia. So I'm not that cuckoo, right? This is what the Jupiter square Saturn is going to do again. You say, oh, finally, I'm releasing from this, releasing from that. Then we find maybe another constriction. But then upon the release from constriction, when I did my feet pedicure, I thought I had toenail fungi. No, I have preliminary condition that the nail lifts off. Lifts off. Okay, for the holistic healers of you, you can have a laugh at me. I'm constantly at the airport, and then I bought a tea tree. So I'm gonna take responsibility of my life. My nail is already aiming me for when I need to lift off. And it's the nail of fire. Just do it. But now it's problem. You're tied in contract, that's no longer valid. And okay, but where would I be housed? Where would I have accommodation? Okay, what would I do? But I definitely need to lift off. Okay, this nail is already pointing me to go on the plane. Okay, the nail is already there. Then the rest of the body need to follow. So the tea tree is assisting for me to follow the nail. Holistic medicine, I have to tell you, it's one of the most joyous things you will learn in your life. It is so funny. It really is so funny that it's one of the joyous things that you will learn in your life. If you're curious and observant and solution oriented, you will see things coming to you that are like, first of all, miracles, but it's the joy of how the body operates. Well, that's something optimistic. I don't have no toenail fungi. I can still avoid having it to not be stagnant. The just do it nail is pointing in the direction of air, to go on air. Okay, that's what's up. And I have no idea where to. I don't know where to. Okay, but what will I do there? But you gotta listen to the body, right? Even when I was standing to treat my nail, my teeth, I was like, well, come on, it's cheaper to take a vacation somewhere to treat your teeth. Well, what about the money? Expose these dumb fuckeries, let them pay. One option. You try the options, okay? That's what Aquila does. He tries to balance things. Well, in what currency will I charge? I don't know. Maybe bits of joy. So those things are all a part of what we will be seeing with Saturn going direct. It's your karma. You must travel somewhere. You must, even if you say, I have a teeth problem, I need to this, I need to that, you need to travel. So you have teeth problem, so you have to solve the problem because it's cheaper to travel than to do it on your land. It's very simple. You have to travel. You want to do it to the nail, to the feet, to the teeth, to the hair, where? Everywhere. You have to travel. Saturn solution problems, you have to travel. Okay? And you see that when you go, boots on ground, remove the boots, step on ground, balance the nervous system, you're going to go on here. Grounding, okay? We've been doing the grounding, and even then I received a tarot teacher. What is the butterfly goddess? Butterfly, she's doing a ancestry veneration. Yeah, Jupiter is my fourth house, ancestral veneration. And she says, message from a father, timely message, time, Saturn, to combine air and earth. So not to be seduced by like passions or something like that, but to combine air and earth. And saying of you are where you are because you never did generational wealth before, have to do it in a new way. Okay, then I see Ronald Bernard, Beats of Joy, and I got to be the bank for a while now. But to have this, and I know I have to visit Netherlands because the housing supportive of nervous system working with the trees is in Netherlands. But Netherlands is like, oh, it has a housing problem, it has a this, it has a that. Well, I don't know, I have to visit. It has nature, it has people that think differently amongst the other people. There are all these other people in every nation, but support for innovation that used to be, so all these things. But I gotta get myself on the plane. What do I do with the 22? Well, water expands upon cooling. Ain't like I didn't done that before. So everything's been calling me, and I have to listen to this call and work on my opportunities, because essentially I want to live, right? And to do something with my life that I enjoy doing in a way that preserves for this joy of living. So yes, it's not about seduction, it's about actually combining for our spirit and matter, to create something substantial that's actually reigniting a certain passion that stands the test of time. This is Saturn going direct. You know that the week before, so the first 2 weeks of November, going to be challenging because Saturn is stationing. Then we have a full moon in Taurus on Algol. Where my Rahu Algols, my moon Algols, my soul Algols, some of them. But even those that are like, everybody is going to be benefiting from that. Okay? Moon, Uranus on Beta Persei in the 5th lunar mansion. Uranus is retrograde. I recommend to you, where's Venus? No, I don't like Venus here so much. I think 5th lunar mansion is still appropriate. If Algol is not minima, Algol is still appropriate. Okay? Because the ruler Saturn is direct, Jupiter is retrograde, but okay. 5th lunar mansion is appropriate if we have a good day to do that. And this is in spirit and matter. Okay, and this is full moon. This is going to be now with Moon Uranus. What my cautionary tale for Moon Uranus? First of all, do some essential oil blend, whether in a cream or a salve or something like that. It is of 5th lunar mansion, because it helps you to balance nervous system. Sniff some lavender. Full moon, we combine the essential oil, which is Scorpio, the Scorpio pole, and the or herbs, or burn some herbs. It's okay, but I think essential oil combined with like vegetable oil is something you can eat, or people are going to get at me at that. Okay, granted that you're not going to drink a can of eucalyptus oil, because that would be enough cyanide to unalive you through the liver, which, by the way, is the organ of anger and boundary setting. So when unaliving yourself is a way to set a boundary to this world, and then cyanide would dissolve for your liver functioning, and this is how you die, basically. It's tremendous suffering, like I don't recommend. But hey, some people want to take care of their sovereignty, and spiritually, when unaliving yourself is taking care of your sovereignty, this is supported, but can also, with eucalyptus in small dosage, okay, not lethal dosage, is allowing space around you, but use it with some sesquiterpene. Okay, I'm going to do oils for that later. Moon Uranus can mean sometimes your parent is detached, so your parent can continue. This is my only cautionary tale for this transit, other than like housing crisis and I don't know what, and digital currency and stuff like that. But this is a housing cooperative, very supported here. A full moon is not a launch date, okay? But if you have a problem, you want to housing, nervous system supportive housing, very supported. I don't know if Algol is minima or not. You know, when you work with Algol, I noticed that even when she is minima, you purge the things you need to purge, you say the things you need to say. So it just works in this way with the minima. And moon is in Taurus, so we still have the support of the moon being in Taurus. The ruler Venus is in Capricorn sign. Now, Venus in Capricorn is the climbing up the ladder Venus, is the very practical Venus. This is where if you need a sudden solution to paperwork problems, okay, if you need to travel, if you need to have a apostille, if you need to have a birth certificate, even for astrologer, okay, if you need to have birth rectification. I think birth rectification, if you set appointment for birth rectification, you could have good, I don't know how to do this myself, but you could have good eurekas about your original birth rectification. Anything that you need documents for, medical documents, anything that you need taxation, okay, issues. So there's going to be unusual solution for these documents. A credit, checks, okay, anything banking, digital banking. This is going to be showing you at least what the full problem is. Why is there a problem with this and that, okay? And can have eureka around the solution, because this you can manifest to eliminate obstacles to your finances. So we want to have finances, free finances, where we are free, we're sovereign, and is coming from healthy sexual energy rather than infiltration, trauma, abuse, rape, electrocution, child, organ trade, human trade, and whatnot. Essence of desire. I definitely bring a lotus in. It's good for having another, you know, maybe discussion of a bottle of mishaps. This is a very good thing. Just be cautious, because your motherly figure might not be able to continue right now, and you might just need her to continue. So your solution relies more on yourself, in the sense of self pleasure, self talismanic work, okay? And then it's going to be this liberating thing. So if you have crisis with your parent or your mother or housing, then it is going to bring in the crisis, the conjunction, and then bring in the liberation. Maybe your parents need to be free a little. They cannot anymore continue right now. Or for housing, sometimes you're very structured. The house need to be vacant. Okay, your own housing need. People don't have summer houses for no reason. Summer house, they're not summering somewhere for no reason. Sometimes it's not about just making more and more and more of the property. The property also needs to rest. It needs to be vacant. It needs to be engaging with what is alluded to Venus and Beta per se, the spiders. It needs to see some spiders every once in a while. You need to travel. We are meant to live a bit more like the birds, especially in the age of air, and to be prepared for this type of accommodation. Your house itself, even when you have a house, it needs to rest. If you rent in property, learn from the mistakes of my makler. I'm not bashing the name. Learn from the mistakes of my makler. Okay? It's not about you have for one mansion, then you dissect it, and then 4 families can live in it. No, do something that people can have vacation. Do something that people are not always there, that you can have income from this and rely on that, not all year, and still be good. because your house needs to rest. It needs rest from you. You're constantly having energies, processing things, dramas, and this. And the more you work, the more, even if you're a short time in the house, it's stress from you. It needs to distress. You can sage it all you want. Take a fucking vacation. Go back with gifts, with this, for something for the house. Okay? Go do something and live good. Then you will have good estate. Because your house needs to get away from you as well. Looking at the moon, it's looking like the sun is yellow as I see this. You need to travel. Your house needs your mother needs, okay? Get on a fucking plane. That's the area in the sky. Now, everything blocking that world reset, blah, 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 blah. You can say to these people, let's run away together. Let's sit on a small boat and watch the stars. And de-stress. Let's have a strike in the New World Order. Okay? All these things apply. If it unnerves you that I don't want to be slave, my bottle of mishap is in the fridge. There is a refrigerator at the shop for the herbs and stuff where you can have some food. If they have some tunas, you feed the cats. That's it, all you need to do. If it stresses you up that we're not doing slavery, come have vacation. You're gonna have accommodation. Okay? If landlord bugs you, you have a gun, invoke the second. This is exactly the spirit of this full moon in Taurus. It's like, hey, relax. And it's ruled by very practical Venus. Anything for taxation, for this, for that, okay? We're gonna have eurekas around that. We're gonna have unusual solutions around these things, and some new solutions are going to enter, okay, for the platform. New stunt. Gonna want to do a stunt on this day, very likely. All in all, it is a very practical full moon. It's full moon that's Taurus oriented. You're gonna have the calmity of mind if you work with the fifth lunar mansion. Else, you're gonna go balonies. You're gonna get like you're gonna get a letter from the taxation that essentially is telling you that you got money back, but you're gonna think they want to collect the debt, and then you're going to think about how do you drink yourself to death and jump off a roof of a building, and if they save your life, then you will find out that they were returning money to you. This is exactly the transit. But if you work with fifth lunar mansion, you have a little bit of a bottle of mishap with you, okay? Some lotus oil, some lavender oil, some eucalyptus oil. You take the space and you eat something good, okay? Some niacin, some some sprouts, something that sets you free, and you take a walk around the neighborhood or something like that. There may be a bit of revolution, but it can revive in your spirit. Then you're well. But otherwise, you just get the mundane effect where you're supposed to be emotionally safe. And like the moon in Taurus, everything wants a vacation. Okay, your house wants a vacation. Your mother wants a vacation. The restaurant is closed for vacation. And I think it might be trying to tell you something. But the only thing that is open is the Ministry of Interior at the airport, where if you buy ticket now, you can have emergency passport. That's how I traveled to Netherlands on COVID, because I'm not very good in planning things. And this is the only thing open. There is some snacks on the flight. That the bombardier can contain you. So yeah. Um, and then it happens. 19th November. Remember, 19th of November, Duchess get out of the lodges. Mered Ghetto Lodge. The rebellion of lodge ghettos. This is where Pluto finally ingresses into Aquarius. Okay? Mars is still opposing Pluto. That's in the background. We gotten used to that. They're like, yeah, we're going to enslave new. Oh, they already are informed. Oh, what is the side effect of this drug you gave them for them to be doing weird movements? They are holding a gun, shaking and shooting everything. How did that work? Well, we got a couple of psychiatrists dead. Those are just the people who complied with the agenda. That seems to work like a butterfly effect. Okay. What didn't this person said they are going to unalive themselves? Yes, they are singing now. And drinking coffee at the airport. Who bought them coffee? Someone unidentified. They look a lot like Sinuar, but he's dead. That's why they agreed for them to buy them a drink, because they thought Sinuar is dead, so it's not Sinuar. And he has perfect English. And they needed a fucking coffee. So that's what we're heading. The moon is going to be in Cancer. So here's some good news. The moon is going to be trining Neptune and applying to oppose Pluto. But it's going to be in Cancer. So the moon is going to be in its home sign. It's going to apply to trine the sun. It's going to be not too far for Procyon. So if you call very loudly, Procyon, help us sweeten this thing, and he will gently reply, we'll get the children out of the caves. That you put there for the snake goddess. And the snake goddess said, I never needed the children. And Procyon said, why didn't you tell them? It's like, because that would make me look bad. And the moon is applying to sextile Uranus. It's a retrograde Uranus, still conjunct in Beta Persei. Jupiter is on the poisonous degree of 18 degree, opposing Mercury in the sign of freedom, Sagittarius. Venus is in Capricorn, so the ingress is with a very practical Venus. This is the Venus that would normally want to climb up the ladder, but this time she wants to climb up the ladder, but the ladder to be MK Ultra free. So I'm thinking Jaguar Wright wants to do cruelty-free artistry. Okay? And if you've been watching her music, she's amazing. She's a really great singer. And you're gonna run into so many things that you know from other artists. You run to the original, because she wrote for so many people, and this is where she's doing the music. That's like, wow. That's really good. So Venus is applying to sextile Saturn. Saturn is direct, Pluto direct, Neptune indirect, Jupiter indirect, Uranus indirect. This ingress is the final one. That's it. No more plutocracy of the pyramid. Now we're tending to the exposure of the cooperative, the kibbutz, the moshab. I already tended to that. Remember when I said, if you read my profile, the bio, I haven't changed it yet. I said I'm passionate about decentralized systems. And then I found out that the Rabobank, you don't know who the Rabobank is, you haven't been watching me, and you need to. Okay? Rabobank. And hey everybody, but the Rabobank is a cooperative. Okay, so we are going to be exposing the satanic ritual abuse of the cooperative. I said what I said. We're waiting for it. We're waiting for it. Okay. And yeah, I'm not going. Of course, there's going to be a banking crisis. I mean, it happens every century, every 3 centuries, every 2.5 centuries. Here we have, of course, we're going to have a banking crisis. Of course, we're going to have a real estate bubble pop. Real estate bubble popping already now, but of course, you know, Mars. Okay, this can be quite risky for leaders. Last phase Scorpio souls. They can be execution. Okay. Um, we can have assassinations of leaders right on the get-go. It's not like it's not planned for things to be bad. And with soul, it's like Scorpio soul, but Mars. Ah. Okay, I tell you what. Oh, okay. The list of execution stuff of military commanders, leaders, especially if they're intelligence, like those that did psychological abuse. Because Sun Scorpio, okay? There's something like this is immediate. The real estate. Why don't you drug cartels all the time? I'm gonna know, I guess. The real estate that's associated with army and leaders. Is something going to happen there? This is going to be one giant thing. Um, hmm. I'm still recording, yes. I'm still recording. This is going to be one giant thing. Please stop. Anybody who has ascendant, okay, Leo ascendant, Sun and Moon, leaders, commanders, MQ Ultra leaders, even influencers, ascendant, Sun and Moon, Scorpios, particularly for the last degree of Scorpio. Okay, it's given military commanders, but Scorpio is the military, is hidden and occultistic as well. Royal families that are associated with the military, royal armies, royal army commanders. Because we are beginning this already with it is with the opposition of Mars to Pluto. It's releasing from the opposition, but look at the Uranus is also with the Sun, also releasing, but still it's like I think between the ingress upon the ingress between the ingress. Okay, so something already beginning, and we're moving from the head of pyramids to the cooperative, to something that's decentralized. So, but this is already given list of executions, I have to tell you. Okay. There's a mystic rectangle in the sky, and a giant kite shape, and a grand trine, the bisextile. So, It is what they say that it is. The Pluto ingress. It's not just Pluto ingressing, it's the opposition to Mars and situation for Uranus. It is what they say that it is. Okay, the fixed sign list of leaders. Okay, it is what they said that it is. The fixed sign list of leaders. It is what they said that it is. Um, some people can do to themselves with poison, unalive themselves with poison. But I want to calm you down. First of all, the mystic rectangle, tremendous alchemy is happening in the sky. Even that I talked about, I didn't look at Sinwar again, but the fact is he could be dead. Please, such person may wanted to die for many, many years. Okay? So it can be on that level. So people that did not have access to that with dignity, now, because this is fierce, is quick action. It's not about anything, it's fierce action. Uranus also is fierce action. So even if death is immediate, hopefully, yes, for most people, immediate. Some they do it to themselves with poison, some electrocution, um, all the stereotypes of like yes, French Revolution are correct. All the people that are oppressed were Moon liberated. Moon is applying to sextile Saturn. It's very good for the people, but also leaders that have Rahu moons, Rahu Cancer, those that been in jail, Rahu moon, Rahu Cancer. Okay, ascendant Cancer, leaders with Cancer placements, leaders ruled by the moon. For them, more populist leaders, it's going to be better. I hope, okay? I don't know, because Chiron is 19 degree. I have, it's something that I'm not saying out loud, but I have a good feeling for quite some time right now. It's something very good for some leaders, something very good going to happen for them upon this ingress. For quite some time. Especially those with the Rahu Cancer, Ascendant Cancer, Sun Moon Cancer, okay? Jupiter Cancer, because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. Your Cancer place with mid-heaven Cancer. It's, by the way, very good for Israel. Israel has mid-heaven on Procyon and Ascendant Spica. And Israel might be liberated from the Verstinkene infiltration. I know it's founded by Rothschild and so on, but here, for the people of Israel, it's very good. You say, surely, but people of Israel are Nazis. How come it can be good? Let's go back to Nazi Germany, okay? For the people that they wanted just to not be full of debt, okay, and enslaved, okay, that they didn't necessarily have anything for or against Jews, they just wanted to live, then a throwing of Adolf Hitler was not bad. Nothing, by the way, it's not Bibi. Bibi is Libra. not Bibi, but Bibi is one person. So, but for the people of the world in general, okay, very good. Supportive culture, supportive grand trine, and even for people who executed, some of them very good. Sinoir is not, I will look at the chart, but it's not, this person very likely wanted to be off for, for decades ago. This was for him, was closest. I'm not saying it was death with dignity, I know the body would look very bad and so on, but that's it, he's off. No more of this dumbfuckery of the MK Ultra stuff, dumbfuckery. And so death can be more immediate. Can be violent, yes, but immediate. And so even people that needing to go now, okay, that were the expendable children and played certain roles and they need to go, and they have for these placements, then even death is if even if death, that could be immediate, okay. So I would not be too afraid if this is the case. For the people is excellent. So by structure, people are going to be targeted. And this means that by structure, if you hold a position of command, okay, then this is that. But any hone in for your cancer and placement for Procyon, okay, for Procyon, this may sweeten the verdict. So this may sweeten the verdict. Chiron is on Andromeda, retrograde. Now, if you ask me what about releasing of kidnapped children and so on, it's not yet what this is about. You have to do it so that this would be about this. But this ingress is exactly what we think it is, and yet so much support in the sky, the kite ship, the mystic rectangle, the grand trine, okay? So much support in the sky that even if people go away, okay, executed, die, it is just something just very supportive about the process of crossing over. Procyon is there to sweeten. People that have like Jupiter Procyon, Sun, Moon Procyon. Okay, Saturn more malefic, midheaven, ascendant Procyon. For those people, the sweetening of the verdict. The beta per se people. Now is a question about the last decan of Taurus people. Yes, of course, you're targeted. But you're targeted by the very system that put you there. And for those of you that have last decan of Cancer placement, that can sweeten for the verdict. They can sweeten. And you're targeted doesn't mean you're going to die, okay? But you're targeted as you are that person holding this position, and we are at the age where it's going to be not mass death for people, but mass liberation for people. People are massively liberated because Moon is supplying to sextile Uranus. And Venus is in sign of Capricorn, sextile in Saturn. Okay? It's in favor for the practical life of Venus. So women, especially women if they're like homeless or women slaves or They're liberated. Okay? Because Venus is ruling this Uranus that's supportive of this moon. Liberation of slavery for women, mothers. This is what this is about. If we liberate the feminine, we can liberate people from slavery. Because slavery depletes waters. It's too much hard work, depletes waters, then Mars goes oof, to the ground. Okay? We need, but when we honor feminine, honor rest, then we abolish slavery because we can set boundaries. And for some of you, it's going to be on energy level. Some feminine supports you. It's very practical notion. She holds the water for you to escape. And you escape by the merit of you being one of the people. You escape by, see, it's your people quality, that you're of the people, that allows you to escape or to camouflage, because moon is trining Neptune. So you could be escaping and camouflaging as the people. But it's only if you honor feminine, because she can only hold waters for you to camouflage if you honor feminine. Else you're depleted. And there are going to be list of executions as a power shifts to those that were. Now you could be leader, and up until now, it's the fact that you're close to the plate that got you where you are. Okay, for example, your bloodline royalty, or you dated royalty, or you assisted royalty, how to appease royalty. But now it's your being one of the people quality. You're just an expandable child that they didn't manage to kill. This can get you for the camouflage. If two people survive in escaping the ghetto of Lodz, then for these two people, as long as they honor that which must, the yin, the feminine masquerades you, it's creating camouflage. So you must respect that, right? As long as you honor the yin, she can hold water for you. You don't deplete her, you don't rape, you don't abuse, you don't do these things. Then she can camouflage you. If two people running from Lodz, and one of them is the one that founded the ghetto and the other is one that was an inmate, because both of them are expendable children that didn't manage to kill, the both are the people. Okay? Both can escape, but what will hold the waters is if they know, because they've both been indoctrinated, otherwise, what will hold the waters. If your soul has been vying for curation for the inner child, for housing, for the inner feminine, for women, relations with women, men, and not necessarily sexual relations, but the respect is something very supportive happening here. You might be able to escape. It's only for the merit of people who not at the place where they can look in and see through to the feminine and hold space for the feminine. Okay, if they only try to be lover boy, okay, feminine cannot trust them and she will be depleted. But if they for genuinely have opened a space within them where they can open to receive practical help from women, Venus, and respect women, because she requires respect in Capricorn, and they give women dignity in business, in climbing up the ladder, okay? Only these men. If you have truly been a hermaphrodite that has been caught up in a system of trauma, but you're not genuinely this person, then you can be camouflaged. But otherwise, you're going to be exposed, you're going to be done with, whether it's because you're going to lose your position, or because you're going to be executed, or you're going to be jailed. But even if jailed with Aquarius, the structure of jail is more supportive of you. It's more humane for you than what the cult will do to you. Because the question is only for your respect for the moon and for the Venusian. That's the only way out. If you fake for this is Moon Uranus. Moon Uranus is not about faking. Okay, it's about liking you for who you truly are. But if you fake for this, it's not going to be successful. Escape not going to be successful. Because Venus is very practical. She's down to earth here, and she's trining Saturn in Pisces. If you genuinely respect women, you can be camouflaged. If you genuinely disrespect women, no matter what you masquerade, you will end up very literally dead, and it might be a woman that will have to kill you. Okay? Or she will have to poison you because you're depleting her. This whole Uranus in Beta per se is meant to liberate women and supportive of the people. This is the time in history where those men that have been so depleted from yin that they began to kill each other. Very simple. If children do not have childhood, if women do not have willing consent, but this is a liberation of, it's not just the feminine, because it's also the masculine, because then somebody can hold waters for you. You can re-emerge. And those will be the people that could be successfully smuggled. Even if they were leaders, even if they were army commanders, even if so and so and so. Okay? But what's not to be, and this is where we have opposition of Mercury and Jupiter, is the relation to children. Okay, this is where like you can come out, but you cannot still hurt children. Okay, you cannot still kidnap children. For this, you can be poisoned. Jupiter has one degree of poison. And this is how for people practically deal with things, because the children, but also traders, they want freedom. For the freedom is true poisoning. So it can be drug cartels, but if not respected, this is where even the child would go for working for a drug cartel, because then they have signed that they can poison someone. Okay. So children can also begin to avenge if they are mistreated, especially around hospitals. If there is in slavery or hospital or drug cartels, and drug cartels misuse children, then there will be poisoning. All in all, very protective skies. It's challenging skies. We don't like the square of Saturn and Jupiter because it restricts in some way hope, but it can also mean that a child is using this poison against an adult Saturn that is, is trying to secretly molest. And I predicted this with Flying Bombardier. So I don't dislike this Congress and camouflage housing, camouflage caregiving, camouflage food is going to be very relevant for these days. But the people who torture people, who take the rage over people in ways that are enslaving people, who are, mistreating women, who are this, who are that, they couldn't be camouflaged, and it's more humane to unalive. Again, the question is how you behave when you're out of prison. That's the thing. If out of prison, if I can sleep with you in a bed, and I don't have to worry about being raped, I don't care who you are. What position you were, you camouflaged, you have place here. But if I have to be worried, then I have, so either I would snitch on you, or I would execute you, or I would poison you, if I have access to poison. Because also you would be taking the place in the bed that is of a person who genuinely want to escape the predatory system. Very simple. Crossover. It's very simple. This is the spirit of the time. He's very supportive. Yes, the moon is applying to both Pluto, but is supported by Neptune and by Uranus. So it's basically taking our psychological power back. Okay? This is where you stand to gaslighting. It's taking a psychological power back. You cannot do with the old. And we feel it very simple, okay? If I send my hand down there and it's not smelling good next to you, then it's probably you that I need to release from my life, okay? Very simple. Very Taurus. There's no two way about this. If you're supportive of will and consent, or you're a person that for not safe with. If not safe with, it's no place here. And it's so, because up until so, it was that way for women. Woman, you had to be, but the good thing, women had to be supportive of the man for, okay? It couldn't emasculate men for too long. But for the bad thing is that woman was also places where she wasn't happy, or she wasn't in will and consent. She had been depleting, and there was nothing standing for her to be able to support her man. She couldn't take her space. Now is the mothers and the females taking their space. They need a living space. If you accommodate for that, it's not about judgment, okay? People have crises. If you accommodate for that, if you are capable to accommodate for that, you will be camouflaged. If you're not accommodating for that, you will crack down, you will break. Because they need to clear the water. The water has been polluted, and the women need to clear the water. Some men have been even trying to help women to clear the water. And have been trying to clear the water in their life. It's the liberation of the people and the liberation of women. And I saw even dream will come in for one very prominent figure. Won't say which. And the dream was so. They're trying to wash something like a pot, but something that like something you pour juice into. It's like this nice decoration. And they're trying to wash it with soapy water, and it's like you put the dish with the soapy water, and there's soapy water in the sink, and you try to, but it's all soapy, and they were trying to clear the water and didn't know how. And then they were outside. It was a forest, but in the forest were so many people, and they were trying to like find a place to clear the water, but there were so many people in the forest. It's like everybody was seen off for like what they were more intimately trying to do. And the people in the forest kind of gave me, when I was receiving this dream, because it wasn't my dream, it was somebody else's dream inside of my consciousness. And that was the people, they reminded me of the Holocaust, when people were escaping the ghettos. Then they were in the forests, but the people were a bit peaceful in the forests. It's like they were having a picnic. So I know for what is collective consciousness is trying to clear the waters. And this is what also gave me power to address things. Okay, a very, very powerful dream. And I'm also a woman, so it was maybe attempt to try and see how we cleanse for my own psychological, for my own consciousness, because I'm part of the people and part of the women. And I'm doing building of forests. But the people in the forest, there's so many people in the forest. So it's something I'm still trying to understand. But this is kind of connecting me to this understanding that we need to clear the water. And even if you put soap in the water and you put it inside water and the water is still soap, it's just pollution in the water. And to clear the water, we need to honor the women, and we need to honor housing, and we need to honor mothers and caregiving. We need to clear in the welfare system, the hospital system, for all these things. That's why. And then there's fertility, and it's the very people sometimes that the systems that try to enforce this that are dependent on these women. Their waters is those women. And the fertility system. Okay. For this women to hold water, and for the moves to hold, to the actions for to be potent, to actually create something that they want in the world. So there's a lot of support for this ingress. Okay, you're going to be forewarned. You don't know what's coming. You don't know what's this. Pay for the symbolism of the cult. Okay, because these people with these symbols, they're gonna tell you many things, but they tell you for the things that even they rebel internally. And this is the rebellion of the lodges. This is how we get out of the ghetto, because it's the rebellion of the lodges. They come out. And those that honor for these women, they will be camouflaged. And if you're one of them, you're invited, you're accommodated. Okay, but you really have to plan your gate to escape, because they're going to be series of a lot of executions. A lot of executions. Total collapse of financial system, so much so, but this is very protective of this process. It's not going to be New World Order here. Because the system of execution will only take the men that kill the men. You understand? They're going to be killing each other. But the men that honor the women, they're going to be camouflaged. It's the rebellion of the lodges. That is what's symbolized here. So even if you're in exile, even if you're in a hospital, even if you're in this, in that, within the hospitals, the people will be executed. Why? Because Saturn is in hospitals. Within the hospitals, within the jails, people are going to, the leaders of these commanders are going to be executed. It's going to start from within the jails. Ah! But the people that can be accommodated to go out of prison, only those who honor for women and children. But here is for women and mothers. Only is through the mothers. This is something so healthy about this revolution. I cannot even. The lover boys, the groomers, the for the kid, all these things, not supported. Executed. Okay, let's cross over. It's kind of like, remember what your dad told you when he passed away? It's not gonna go anymore. You gotta internally set intention. You gotta internally set intention to change that from within you, so when the world breaks free, the water falls, and you're a fish in the water. Okay? To swim against the stream is when the system is oppressive. But when the walls of the ghetto break in, you want to be the fish in the water that breaks. When the water breaks and the baby is born, you want to be that because you're ready for the rebirth. If you are. But if you, and this is what will dictate if you will be left out with the women that the ladies inside what is prisons, is just is the places for the child trafficking. The children are going to poison these people, but basically from the jails. If your drugs used to rape, you cannot deal these drugs anymore. The gentleman code of crime families, because crime families are supported here, but the gentleman code of crime families has to be active or they will be poisoned, or they will be executed as infiltration of intelligence. All system kaput. Okay? Nada. Anything of the old. Think about the fall of Nazi Germany. People say the fall of Rome. No, the fall of Nazi Germany. Okay? All people. But that fall was orchestrated, and then you have the orchestrated things, but who is camouflaged in this one is the people that are holding the waters, that you can hold the water for. You can hold the water for someone that doesn't deplete your water. Okay? So people could be poisoned by children that fight for the freedom. Everything working out. Okay, this is the rebellion of the ghettos of the lodges. Very simple. It won't be like that in the media. The revolution will not be televised. Okay, but this is, it was such a powerful thing. We've been waiting for 2.5 centuries for the rejuvenation of these systems, and it's happening in the hospitals, in the asylums, in the shelters, in the jails, in the places for exile, on the ships. Okay, the oppressed, the ones oppressed, taking charge, standing 10 toes down, and kaput with all oppression. Kaput of slavery. Kaput of slavery. Okay, so if you have been, even if you have been in a system of enslavement, but inside you have enough seed of life to want to break free from the system of oppression, to not be slave or master, this is where it's at. Okay, if you want to not be slave or master, if internally you're like, I am oppressed in this system, I don't want to be no slave no master, I just want to live. Okay, you support it. So if you can hold on just 1 month, if you hold on to this month, then you will see that it's different story than the stories you have lived. It's a different stories than the stories you have lived. A very good feeling for some people, a very, very good feeling for some people. They will be camouflaged. But the people that are only, the people for whom it's a mirage, that are dabbling in the, I can be like lover boy and I can be like savior for women. I can be both this and about this, okay? Then they, poof, you go. If you do what you did for incarnation to not come back here again, okay? So you go to heal. Maybe you will incarnate in golden ages. So you don't have to do this anymore, okay? Hopefully for you, yes. So for those people that are on the Corvan out place where they're trying to do both the journalist that puts the person in jail and the person that is in jail, okay, both the criminal and the savior, for these people, it's not supportive. It's no more of that. It doesn't work the way it worked in the Pluto Capricorn. It doesn't work the way it worked in the Pluto Capricorn. And if you're trying to be reliant on some global system of oppression, it's going to be your child even that is going to poison you, because it's breaking generational course. And it's not bad for you, because even in this way you are transformed and crossing over, okay, easily. Alternatively, there's a source of internal crisis, then maybe you have, I don't know, awakening, near-death experience and so on, and you cross over to falling apart, to fall into place. But if you're the type of person that still tries to do this, your heart is open, but your psychology is still abusive, okay? Either you're going to find now the person that is breakthrough, okay, that you're not like that with them, and you're open internally for that, or it's just going to collapse on you. You're going to be heartbroken, you're going to be this, you're going to be losing, you're going to be losing family, or losing this, or losing that. Divorces, okay, still divorces, because you cannot proceed with this type of internal archaeology of the psyche. You cannot proceed with that to the age of Aquarius. So this is why everything falling apart, okay? It's not that you're not wanted or you're not that, but you cannot, over the old way that you have to do it yourself, you had to do both ways, okay? Had to do both ways. And that worked because even for the women, they were programmed. So it seemed like there's no good women out there. But for the women that liberated, or the mothers that liberated, because the moon is going to be mothers. You could have children with someone, and she says, I'm liberated. I'm liberating myself. I don't like this type of thing. It makes me yeasty, it makes me this, it makes that. I listened to this astrologer that I thought we were sleeping with, and she said, oh, you have to taste yourself. I taste myself, and then I go away for vacation, and I taste myself, I taste better. So what's the problem? Okay? Like, that's going to come down. That's going to come. You can't play with that. Uranus Taurus is not, it doesn't do all these things anymore. It's also good for you. You don't want to be that. But all those things that you are maybe even idealizing, if you are this type of person, then this is the time, the final time where you get into your own internal psychoanalysis, and not by acting out, but by thinking, what is the fantasy here? What is the fantasy here? What is the fantasy? What is the fantasy? What is underneath? What's the source of this fantasy? That and that trauma. What is underneath? Okay? Then you can go to the crisis. Then you can go and with the change underneath the vengeance. Okay? But if you're trying to still enforce the vengeance, then it's going to collapse on you, which is supposed to. It's for your favors collapsing on you, because what? You're not supposed to be dead alive. You're not supposed to be walking like Schrödinger. I know maybe your father did it, your grandfather did it, your ancestors did it. It runs in the family, okay? but this is where for you to break a generational curse. And then you're supported by this ancestry or patrilineage to break this generational curse. So you can have good life. And then you to re-envision what is good life is something that sometimes we can be very nostalgic, but sometimes we cannot go back, okay, to what was, because we have to leave for the past behind and live a good life in the present. And if you're a woman and you're also, your way or your modus operandi was, I'm going to abuse men on purpose because I'm feminist, it's and you've been acting this out, it's no longer going to be place for that, because you cannot hold water. You are depleting your own yin. Okay? It's not judgment. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying, very simply put, we are moving for this type of existence away. It's both Pluto ingress into Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus. That's the thing. People who are into traditional family values, how should I say this? Venus is in Capricorn. Your trad wife is a CEO of something. So, because there's a lot supporting that, I have to admit. A lot of people saying, okay, my fertility, my menstruation is the fifth vital sign. My fertility matters. Being a mother is an experience that is important to me. Or caregiving. Okay, there's a lot of things supportive of that. But Venus is in Capricorn, so she's kind of like she's the boss. But we need to do bossy in a way that still supports for fertility and for these things, not by being a workaholic. Okay, because with Moon in Cancer, it's just not supported. And there's an opposition between Venus and the Moon that we do not underestimate. It's opposition by sign. The people are liberated, but for these women that are, workaholics, they might work with like the drug addicts or drug cartels, and it can liberate them in some way from like slavery. But then their child might kill them if they overdo it. Okay, so because Jupiter is in the degree of poison, square in Saturn. So again, the workaholic woman might get poisoned or sick as well, or even poisoned by the drugs that you take to function. Think about when I was taking the amphetamines in academia, because I really loved studies. It was a great time, but then it was poisoning because I couldn't absorb magnesium that helps you to distress and sleep, and I moved to aromatherapy and also took a break from academia. Okay, so I replaced the joys in other joys, with joys that support more on my fertility system. Okay, and those choices were more respectful for me. Still studying, doing stuff. It's just not in the way that is the old order way. And because Venus is still with the old order, she still wants the rights of like having a bank account, having a this, having a that. But because the woman is also, if she's connected to her moon, then her moon will prevail. And it should at this time. Okay, so go to the moon, go to your Cancer placements. They have more the wisdom. And yes, it can be a bit nationalistic, but it's kind of like the international, it's given national socialistic, okay? It's given Nazi. Like, I have to admit, it's given Nazi. But then you have to remember that what helps for your fertility and for you to be a good mother is rest. Because Venus is a bit workaholic right now. Okay? So you have to go with the moon and meet the needs of your moon. You have to sleep well, have to rest well, so that you can caretake. And use this Venus not for work, but for tending to things like taxation, bureaucracy, your hair, your skin, your teeth. This is better for you or to build a working structure that supports rest. Grow herbs or stuff like that. That's better at this time. Okay, to each one is going to fall differently. November 21, Sun ingresses to Sagittarius. Mercury goes retrograde on November 26. So the ingress of Pluto is the big deal. It's the big loud moment. But there are also quite notable mentions. There's the full moon in Taurus. There's the giant new moon in Scorpio. So November is an impressive month. It begins with a big mishap and ends with an even bigger mishap. And Mercury is 22 degrees when it turns retrograde. 22 degrees Sag. which is a lethal degree. It's degree of murder. They can be, and there's opposition with Jupiter in Gemini. So think about the dead journalists, the murdered journalists, the freedom fighters, the murdered traders. Yeah, hopefully not whistleblowers, but it's those things, and it's a hard aspect with Neptune, which means that it is trining Uranus, okay? And he has no sextile in Pluto, but the turning around is on the 22. We are going to think about assassination of journalists differently, assassinations of freedom fighters, assassinations of traders, assassination of child assassins. Okay, we're going to think of it a bit differently. We're going to take it back. So the assassin, the freedom fighter assassin, that is where the pivotal moment is around. And there's not too much support for this Mercury, but Uranus. And Jupiter is retrograding in detriment. So it's again, it's a big giant moment for expandable children. Yeah. That maybe. Like I don't have too much insight into this. There's just so many things that are changing now. That I don't have too much deeper insight into what happened after the ingress of Pluto. Like, to be very honest, it's going to be so big and so maleficent and magnificent at the same time. It's so liberating and so practical. Okay, it is the rebel of the lodges, the ghettos of the lodges. It's beginning from the jails of you, like people you didn't expect, people you really didn't expect. So big month. Now let's summon up with some Sinwar. So let's try to find a chart for Sinwar. Sinwar, how this name is? Sinwar, Sinwar, and is a natal chart. It's called Astro Theme. Oh, 61. It was 61. Those of you that are this generation of Plutos, that I would begin to tend to honoring Yin and Yang. And remember, the caring for the mothers is the caring for the children. The caring for the children is the caring for the mothers. So for the mothers to not be separated from the children, but also to have enough space for each one. Housing. The caring for caring for the mothers is caring for the mothers and for housing of their children. Okay, if you do one on account of the other, you're still dishonoring feminine. And the women, they have problem right now because they tend to do with the bureaucracy, with the practical side of life and so on. Is yes, this is the time where for your job is to remind them to relax, okay, to chill. You are the calming factor, okay, you need to hold space. And remember, it's not the time, but the people that used to go to try to make mothers fight with daughters, to try to make the sisters fight with another, women fight with another, mothers fight with other, women fight with one another, okay, you're dead. And very well so. It's like either you leave that to the dead and you change, you transform, or you're very dead. You're very, very, very dead. You're probably not going to be suffering too much. and you're going to rid the world of the suffering that you spread upon people. Now, for sometimes you're not to blame for that, and then it's the most humane thing for you to be dead. Um, but it definitely, you won't be camouflaged anymore. This pitting women against each other, no, you won't. You have to cross over or cross over. That's it. And all of you that used to thought that to rape women, to this, to that, of women also to support rape, you're dead. Okay? You're off with the others. If you lost your head so much so you supported raping women. Okay? That's the thing. It's more humane for you to die than to get back to sender what you sent. Same with the women. Same with the women. Okay? Because that's been, you know exactly what it's been. The word traitor is not going to work anymore. Because traitor used to be a traitor in the regime. But the regime is a traitor. Okay? All the ways in which there was pitting women against each other, she is whore, she is this, she is that, she is that, eventually, all of these things, they have to go do away with. Otherwise, you're going to end up with the men that kill the men. Same as World War II. 2 generations of men died before women had a bank account. Which women had a bank account? The working women, you understand? So back then was the working women. What if women cares about the will and consent? If she needs to hold the gun, she'll hold the gun. If she doesn't have access to gun, why would she not say, this person, yes, he is doing these things? Unless she's not hurt by this, but if she finds out another woman is, she already knows. A man who hurts women will hurt men, a man who hurts men will hurt women, a man who hurts one woman will hurt another woman. If a man cheats with 2 women, we know where the problem is. Okay? Okay? And this is the hour of the feminine. For the men, they have their time. Rahu in Aries is the time for the men, the soldiers, the veterans, the voices that we didn't hear. And then we learn what? That we didn't hear them because they were considered the feminine. So honor the feminine. Okay? That's what's up. Even I, as woman, did not know how important this is. Until men told me, and it was men that educated me about this. Some of them offenders. Men told me, yes, you know, of us, the Moroccans, to this, we went and wed Ashkenazi women. Some of us were wedding Ashkenazi women on purpose, and then to rape her, to abuse her, and I hear a person telling me this. And I say, this is why we must save the women from the Arabs. Because that tells me the man that, you know. You think Geert Wilders is lying to you. No, he's been in those places. He heard these things. Okay? He doesn't get the votes of the Moroccans for no reason. You know? I was studying the most leftist department, Ben Gurion University, Department of Politics and Governance. Nothing more lefty than this. I just wanted to travel and I thought international relations. It was one course on international relations. Great lecturer, Avi Segal. Professor Avi Segal. This great, intelligent person. Disorganized. I love disorganized people. I'm very disorganized myself. I like to not be judged. But this thing, other than that, I sit in class and we talk about lava, and I say, what a horrid thing is that? What is this racist dumb fuckery? Then a Druzi man who now identifies as Palestinian, that they begin to identify as Palestinians, okay? Because Satan is paying for you to be Christian, you'll be Christian. Satan is paying for you to be Muslim, you'll be Muslim. Okay? And so we begin to identify as Palestinian, and he says, well, you know, by us, we murder them. He tells me, look me to the white in the eye. By us, by our tribes, we murder the women that marry another tribe. I came very, very left, and I was left very, very dumbfounded. Now I have to adjust my paradigm to the actual data. When people tell you who you are, believe them. My makler, if he wouldn't think I'm some kind of whore because I didn't have money to buy Jack O'Brien's 700 shekels, that's like 700 euros for you, then he thought I'm some sort of a whore or something like this, or I don't know what that. And if it wasn't easy for him to buy on this type of, oh, she doesn't respect herself, she doesn't do this, so she's not married, she's not this, she's not that, okay? If he wasn't thinking like a Moroccan, he wouldn't get treated like that. Because he wouldn't buy that shit, so he wouldn't be susceptible to mind control. Because he wouldn't think it's not okay for me to be me. Very simple. Very simple. Money was on the money. Money was on the money. 2 years, money on the money. That's the one thing you had. That's the welfare. It's on the money. Every month, no problem. You didn't see my face even. But because he was thinking for these ways, and it doesn't matter, Moroccan or Moroccan, Ashkenazi the same. Okay, you think it this way, and now the money's not on the money because I bought the fucking bra. That's what's up. And I went to treat my teeth and do a fucking pedicure. So the money's not on the money. That's the thing. Now let's go talk about Sinwar. As we talk about Sinwar, he has his moon Neptune. We don't have an ascendant. And the sun, 5 degrees Scorpio. Venus, 26 degrees Scorpio, retrograde. And Venus is indeed in Scorpio. Okay. Pluto is not even next to his Saturn. Saturn in Aquarius. Jupiter in Pisces retrograde next to Fomalhaut, so he had deep insight. Pluto, 11th degree. This is a person who's in charge of creating suicide bombers. I said it when I talked about it. Mars, Rahu in Leo, so Leo in Cancer, in Scorpio. I think the fact that the Sun and Moon are so close to Neptune is why we had a hard time killing him, but also why he had a hard time dying himself. Mars, Rahu, with Sun, Neptune in Mars sign and Venus in Mars sign. Mars, Rahu in Leo with the Sun in Scorpio. It was something to do with sex trafficking, but he was also okay. So trafficked. So this is something we need to remember. Mercury, Lilith. I said what I said. In Libra, the whole thing was all about sex trafficking. Nothing nationalistic, nothing like that. Saturn opposing Mars. Saturn with Ketu opposing Mars. Saturn-Mars opposition is martial artist, so it's very good with fighting. Jupiter opposition Pluto, again, exploitation of children, but it's very important to remember he was exploited very likely himself, very likely a hermaphrodite. So the Pluto opposition, yeah, the Mars-Pluto opposition, maybe for the location of the moon in Mars sign. I don't know what to tell you. Is he dead? They show like a destroyed body? I don't know. Sun, Moon, Neptune, he had to surrender so many things in his life. Saturn. Venus here, Venus Scorpio. Yes, I have to admit, I don't see particularly for death. We don't have ascendant, so ascendant midheaven could be playing a huge role here. So we don't have the houses. Full moon Libra. Full moon Aries, okay, with sun in Libra. Sun on Spica. Is he dead? Uranus is opposing Venus. Maybe. But it's been opposing Venus for a while. Right now. The Mars Pluto. Neptune in Pisces. Look, ascendant and midheaven could be playing a huge role. Is he dead? Dead? Venus is 27 degrees, 29 degrees. When she was 26 degrees, I could say maybe. But this was happening now. So, is he dead? Could be, you know, but it's like an Epstein, that's what's up. Oh, but it's true. Trade in children, trade in this, the sex trafficking. Being Islakim ultra child assassin is very like Epstein, okay? The programming children. It's these things. That's what his job was, not for free Palestine. It's nothing Palestine here. It's nothing Palestine here. Because, but look at the chart, okay? It's nothing Palestine here. He is actually enemy for Palestine because he keeps them oppressed and sex trafficked and drug trafficked, okay? But again, I'm not blaming him because he was born into this hermaphrodite cults, but it's just to gender, okay? The problem is not the two gender. The problem is that they breed them to perpetuate torture, okay? For the, you want to watch Mama versus Mafia, but this is what it is. That's it. That's the scene war for you. What's the current planets? Yeah, it's not much to say. Is he dead? I don't know. I don't know what I got open here. So okay. Ah, Saturn's hour, the hour of the dead. Um, yeah, it's going to travel one more degree before it to station direct. Moon in the 11th house, Moon vertex, Sun in Spica, Venus still on erratic. Mars has ingressed to the 23rd degree. No longer assassin Mars. Say it with me. No longer assassin Mars. Now, because we are still in the hour of the dead, let's check when will Mars return to the 22nd degree, because this is important. When is Mars going retrograde? We're going to go to December. Mars, we're going to go to December. Retrograde. Yes. So this is where Mars is going retrograde. And then we're going to go with it. Travel with it until it turns direct. So I think most comfortable would be to do that through for the next year. And this is where we go into 2025 with this retrograde Mars. I know in April it stations direct, so let's do all the entire Mars retrograde. Mars, Mars, Mars. When are you stationing? So it's what, the end of March? Oh, so in March. Yes. It's not going to be snow at the end of March with this Mars, I think. It happened in 2007. Oh, wait. Even earlier. Why did I think it's going to be... until April is the shadow period. Mars direct February 24. Yes. Mars direct February 24. Mars direct. So Mars is direct at 17 degrees Cancer. This means that Mars is going to go over the 22 degree again. That tells me that I needed to check with you when is Mars on the 22nd degree again. This is something you want to plan for, okay? This is something you want to plan for. You see, it's moving slowly. It's also the 18th degree, which is another annoying one. Because there is the perfection of Mars opposition Pluto, and then there is the 22nd degree, where is 22nd is annoying. This is Monday, 27 January 2025. So you think about 26 January, at the end of January. End of January, Mars is going over this degree again. And the moon is going to be in Capricorn, so in detriment. and Jupiter on the 11th degree, so think about murder, suicide. This one is malefic. Now if we go 1 month forward, it's going to go all the way there, and then gonna go all the way back. Exactly. And 27 March, end of March, so end of January and end of March 2025, Mars is sextiling, not sextiling, it is actually squaring 22 Chiron in Aries and sextiling Uranus. This is the Mars that can succeed in assassination. But this is where the people are successful in assassination. So this is where some Mars is murdered, some military person is murdered. To do with housing, or to do with welfare, or to do with restaurants. And this is curation of assassination wound. So it either be if you are fearing of being killed, then because it's square, you could be curating your fear of like being murdered for some reason and then for another reason. And moon is next to formal out. So this is something that could be to do with secretive activity. This can be like, imagine Sinwar was not murdered by intelligence, and then he was trying to exploit his tenet, and then his tenet is like, fuck that. Invoke the second. Poof, poof, poof. Okay? It's giving that. Because somebody's curating a fear of assassination, and then they have to look at exploitation, because Mars, Cancer, and Moon in Pisces, somebody has this instinctive knowledge of something, that something's wrong. But this Moon is Piscean, and Jupiter in Gemini, and Mercury is retrograde in Aries. Okay? If somebody's been trying to show himself as like hidden association, because Mercury with Venus here, hidden association, hidden relationship, where Venus is also in Aries, and this is very confusing, I have to admit. So the ruler of Mars is this Jupiter, and then there's this weird shit that is, and Uranus is direct, approaching Beta Persei. What do I have to say about this? There's a bisextile with Beta Persei and Saturn. Saturn Rahu. And Moon is on formal out with Jupiter Gemini. Let me see. Because the ruler of Jupiter is also ruled by this Mars. Someone has karma of assassination. Saturn here, the ruler of karma, is very strong. Is with Rahu. So somebody is going to die, or somebody is going to be very optimistically doing something about safety houses, safety of women escaping violence. This is so. If let's say a woman dies here, her death will genuinely be revolution. And then the landlord and everyone and the husband, everyone are hanged. Even by intelligence. Because Aries is a sign of intelligence. But if this person escaping violence leaves, they leave thanks to everybody else dead. Or they find creative solution. This to do with safety housing for women who escape domestic violence, Venus, Mercury retrograde in Aries. Or the women can be like murderers and then something happens. If this woman dies, then her death is indeed a revolution. This would be the death that will, but she could also be like traitor, because Beta per se can give the story of traitor. She could be saying the person that dies, and they would say, oh, this person is traitorous. Like, yes, this person has been continuously communicating to you that the only way for them to get death with dignity when they escape violence that infiltrates your national security and your drug cartels and your housing cartels and domestic violence is to betray the nation, because then she will be assassinated for betrayal. It's the only way she gets the death penalty. It's just not death with dignity. Or alternatively, the woman decides to take on the role of the man. Say, hey, if I murder you, instead of you murder me, then I'm liberated. It's not with men murdering women, because this Venus is in the sign of the assassin here. And it's about housing, it's about mothers, it's about caregiving, safety housing. Can also be women that assist somebody to escape into safety housing or something like that. Somebody definitely is heading death here. But this is a death that will be revolutionary. It's death that is guarded. It's death that someone is even eager to. It's like, give me death or give me actual life I can live. No longer this. And the moon on Fomalhaut, it tells me there's something deeply psychic, deeply intuitive about this. The people who are going to be in this situation, they probably know. But it can either be incarnation of the very safety that we seek from assassination because of who we are. And who we are here is what's been sitting in Aries, and this is Venus and Mercury. Who we are is the woman that we are, but you see this 0 degrees, there's something very Martian. You think about the woman that is entrepreneurial, the woman that is intelligence, or the woman that is self-made woman. It's not about a woman that says, I don't need any man or this or that. It's a woman that says there has to be an I am for there to be a we are. And that I am has to be certain. Like, give me death or give me life where I have autonomy. And she's going to take radical actions that are protected. But this is protection for both the woman and the ex, because Mercury is an ex, okay, some ex. Both of them have protection here because both of them are in situation of housing, of caregiving, of welfare, of debt. that is for the change and for the revolution. That can be murder of landlord, murder of instead of the ex murdering the woman murdering the ex. Okay, there's something very on the flip side here. This is 27 March 2025. And ruler of Saturn Rahu is in detriment, and the ruler of the ruler is still going back to this. There's a lot of things about entrepreneurial, military, being self-made, being head off, okay, something. But think these are the people that already left after the gigantic revolution, after Pluto is already ingressed into Aquarius. So there's just something here where a certain wound around assassination is addressed by the action of killing. So that who is afraid to be killed or murdered is being killed, is also either that who is afraid to be killed or murdered, let's say in the army or at war, is being killed at home by the woman, the mother, or that which was afraid that her husband will murder her, the husband dies at war. It can be. Because Mars, the ruler of Chiron, is sextiling Chiron from the sign of housing, nourishment, nation, nationality. And this is where somebody here, they were eager to die. This can also be hidden enemy of someone, because Saturn, Pluto is in the sign of Saturn, so hidden enemy of someone, hidden oppressor of someone is eager to die. So this can, but there can be vicinity. If you're, let's say, the Jupiter in this situation, yeah, that's just something. But this death is protective of something. That's the thing. It's very safeguarded. It can also be a restriction that you have. You protected something. There's a certain restriction that you have, and your revolution is protected. It's something very weird. If somebody dies on this day, and moon is on Fomalhaut, if somebody dies on this day, it would be a death that would change the world, because this Uranus is bisextile. It would be revolutionary death. It would be that this is, if somebody murdered on this day, it would be completely revolutionary and completely unexpected. And Rahu with Neptune, Neptune tell me they really go to a better world. They may be murdered, but they go to a better world. And the death is sudden. Oh my God. This can be for a situation like you aimed for the mother, but you got the daughter. Or you may aimed for the daughter, but you got, or you aimed for the house, but you got somebody else there. You got a child there. You know, my mother wrote a book called Falafel Bekikatzion, The Roundabout, and it was about terror in Jerusalem. And the scene, it's funny that I tend to write the death scene. I tend to give the idea for begin with the death scene, and then and it was basically someone who's going to, a Palestinian person going to study in Britain, receiving funds and stuff like that, connected with people getting funding from Qatar to do bombing. He does bombing, and this is a falafel restaurant, it's very Israeli food from Egypt. But okay, what can I do? And he didn't know that his mother was dining at the same place. Okay, and then his mother died from his bombing. He was not he was not suicide bomber, but he did put like a bomb, and his mother died. And he goes to visit his mom. Then some woman that he kicked out in the university where he was hiding, she was chasing for him, trying to catch him with the intelligence. Then she murders him because she also lost someone in that bombing. But this can be, you aim to bomb someone. It can be, so for example, you aim to kill the daughter, but you kill the mother. Hopefully not you aim to kill the landlord, but you kill the mother. Okay, it's, you wanted to kill someone, but somebody else is dead. Because you look at this, the taker of action, Mars, is against Mars is, this person is of Martian quality, so they are trying to murder someone, and it's about housing or restaurant or food. Where is that person? Maybe they're bathing in the ocean. Maybe they're baptizing themselves right now. And this is supported by the sign of the revolution, Uranus, the unexpected. And Chiron, which Mars rules, Mars is square in Chiron. Chiron, somebody is recovering from wound of assassination. But the recovery from wound of assassination is by killing someone, and that someone, maybe they went baptizing and then somebody else is dead. It's the child. Or it's the mother. Or you thought, I'm going to kill this tenant. I'm going to kill this tenant. You come, you take a shot, bam, bam, bam. They are not going to murder me. I'm going to murder them. Bam, bam, bam. They're not going to focus a second on me. And you got the mother that was trying to remediate the entire thing at the beginning. Or the other way around. I'm going to get this writer. I'm going to get this person. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this, that. And then you go, you enter the house. The mother went to bathe in the sea, and the daughter is reading a book, and then, puff, you got the daughter. Okay? And Jupiter is the spouse of, it's the child. It's like you got the wrong person. You killed the wrong person. That's the thing. And that which you killed is Jupiter. They're like, come on, welcome. You know, there was when I was exposing for my macler, then I was at the airport, and then I thought, you know, I was feeling so bad. I thought, you know, maybe I would go to Azrieli. Maybe they will be bombing there. I'll just go, come on, welcome. The next day, I loved life. Everything was okay. But I was so sick and tired of this entire MK Ultra thing that I just like, poof. are sick of being in these weird situations. Okay, so, and this is Rahu. Rahu is, by the way, very close to my ascendant. My ascendant is right between the Saturn and Rahu and Neptune. It could be that I'm gone, but it's for better place. But if I'm gone, it means that they wanted to catch somebody else. They were looking for my mama. They're not looking for to get me. If I'm here indeed die, which I can, I might die here. First of all, it's with Neptune, so I'll go to a better world, and it's this eagerness to cross over to a world, that life where that I enjoy living. If it can happen in this life, it's okay. If not, to cross over, then it's okay. But it's not that the bullet was not meant for me. Which would be very funny. It can be very funny, you know. It can be like a person like me, just like escaping suicide here, escaping assassination there, assisting people with assassination. I don't know. Go to read a book in the motherland, you know, because I want to maybe visit Netherlands or something like that. Sitting to read a book, or maybe like I literally have the location where I could be at that place, and then somebody's like bombing, and poof, it's like, oh, okay, fine, back at you. But this is very funny. Anyway, the person who is off is this Jupiter. They're going for the Mars, they're going for the Moon, they're going for the Venus, but this Jupiter dies, and they're like, oh, thanks God. So yeah, I find it very funny. This whole thing, my ascendant 24 Pisces. I might be the one saying goodbye. Ta-ta. Go kill yourself then. So. And if it is me, I really know the location where I will be. I know exactly where I will be when I will be doing that. I might be sitting, reading a book, and I know where I will be, if that's me. So if that's a scenario, I literally know that, and I feel it will be fine, you know. But it's definitely like they were looking for this person, they were looking for that, they were looking for the makler, they were looking for the house, they were looking for the mother, they were looking for the spouse, and that is just Jupiter person. And they die. You guys, go ahead, kill yourself. I'm off. And it's like they could be the only one actually dead from this situation. You were like, Shirley, how is that funny? It's like, believe me, this is a comedy next to what I've been through. So, but it's not on my lot of that. So, yeah, there's something very satirical, very revolutionary about the entire thing. So we'll see. First, we got to make it to January, right? And this is the last move of Mars on this degree, and then it's going to keep perfecting its. And Pluto is already 3-degree Aquarius, so we're going to continue with the French Revolution and the Satanic Revolution and whatnot. So yeah, I think this was a lengthy episode. It dealt with a lot, but this is one to go back to if you need to watch Sinwar Dead or something. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.